All right, team. Please welcome one of the smallest and lightest players to ever play in the NFL, J.J. Birden. Thank you, J.J.
Team O'Reilly. I got something to tell you. You listening? You ready? Lean in. You know what? I was a stud. Oh yeah, I was a stud. I was the kid that everybody picked first to be on their team. I dominated in athletics, grade school, junior high, high school, college, where I went to the University of Oregon. So when I got to the NFL, I thought, this is going to be easy because I've dominated on every level of athletics. But I remember it like it was yesterday. My first NFL practice. We're doing a drill called one-on-ones. Now, one-on-ones is where you go against your teammate. I'm a wide receiver, so we go against the defensive backs. I want to get by them and make a catch. They want to stop us from catching the ball. And when you do one-on-ones, it's on film, and everyone is watching. So I'm standing on the sideline, waiting for my turn, scanning the defensive backs. Who's going to be my first victim? And there he is, number 29, former All-Pro, Hanford Dixon. Now, Hanford's a little older at this point. He's not the same player he was a couple years before, so I'm thinking, I got him. So when it's our turn, we get on the line. Hanford is in front of me, about a yard away, dangling these long arms. I give him a move like this, and I take off to run away like I always do. But as soon as I get near him, I feel these hands latch onto my shoulder pads. Hanford takes me like this, and he throws me out of bounds on the ground. Now, while I'm laying on the ground, I look up at him, and I go, dang, man, it's just practice. Hanford immediately turns around, he squats down, he gets in my face, he says, rookie, in the NFL, every day is game day. It was an instant wake-up call, like a slap in the face. It doesn't matter what you did in high school, college, you're in the NFL, and you're playing against the best of the best, and they bring their best every day, not just on game day, Monday through Sunday. And if I don't figure out how to seize this opportunity and raise the bar of my performance, the NFL for me will stand for not for long. As a motivational, inspirational speaker, yes, I'm here to motivate you. I want you to do more, be more, and achieve more. But at the same time, I'm here to empower you, to help you elevate your performance so that you're always leading from the front, so that you are the best of the best, and you stay the best. See, that's what we had to do in the NFL, because making it to the NFL is hard. Staying there is even harder. Let me illustrate it this way. So the NFL is the #1 grossing sport in the world. It does $16 billion in annual sales. And when you think about the NFL or football, this game is being played throughout the world, all over the world. But every week, there's 1,696 men that are on an active NFL roster. 1,696 out of the millions that play the game. And I was one of those for 9 seasons. There's 32 NFL teams, and typically when I played, a team would start 2 wide receivers. So that means every week, there's 64 job openings to be a starting NFL wide receiver. And that was me for 5 years. What's the point? The point is you don't make it to the NFL by accident. And you don't stay there because someone's doing you a favor. Doesn't matter who you know, what family you've been born into. No, you make it because you earn it. And you stay there because you continue to earn it. But for me, it was that journey to the NFL. The time I was there, I learned some very valuable success principles and winning strategies that not only prolonged my career, but also allowed me to successfully transition to life after the game as an entrepreneur. You see, the game taught me so much. It taught me how to grow, how to improve, how to handle competition, how to handle success, how to be a good teammate when you're working with different people from all walks of life and background, but you work together as a unit to accomplish a common goal. Taught me how to be a leader, how to lead others in a way you get them to do something that they didn't think they were capable of. How to deal with challenges, obstacles, or the unexpected, especially when things are going well. Let me illustrate it this way. So I've been married to my college sweetheart, Raina, for 33 years. And thank you. Appreciate that. And when we got married, we had a simple game plan when it came to children. We wanted 3. More than that, too many. Less than that, not enough. So we have Dante, Camille, and LaJordan. In 2007, I suddenly received a call from my nephew, Justin, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Justin says, "Uncle, there's craziness going on out here. Can you please come check on us?" 24 hours later after that, I'm on a plane flying to Tulsa, Oklahoma to check on my 5 nieces and nephews. 24 hours later after that, I'm standing in the courthouse before the judge, and the judge says, "Mr. Birden, we're going to take your 5 nieces and nephews and place them in 5 separate foster homes. You're the next of kin, so what would you like to do?" What do you do in a moment like that, where you got to make a split-second decision that will drastically impact so many lives? But what did the game of football teach me? Sometimes in life, you got to call an audible. And I did what any smart husband would do. I was like, "Judge, let me call my wife first." But after a 5-minute conversation, we said, "Let's take all 5 of the children." And that's what we did. And we immediately merged them into our family. Here's the thing that caught me by surprise. So many people close to us challenge us. Why would you add 5 more mouths to feed? Why would you do that? My wife, Raina, and I, we saw it as an opportunity to impact 5 more lives. And I believe we did that, but also believe they impacted our lives too. Now, when I was putting this presentation together, learning more about you, and I was thinking, wow, you guys are in the transportation business. I'm sitting there thinking of, look at the benefits you provide your customers every single day. I mean, just the comfort, the peace of mind, the confidence to know you can get from point A to point B. I'm like, man, you guys impact lives every single day, every single week, every single month. And then as I learned more about your company and your culture, values that Doug was just talking about, I was so impressed to see words like commitment, dedication, enthusiasm, hard work, excellent customer service, teamwork, professionalism, and my favorite, win-win attitude. Fantastic. But I'm not here to praise you. I'm here to challenge you. Because if you're in this room, you're a leader in this company. You're leading someone in some capacity. So if you want your team members to raise the bar of their performance as leaders, you have to raise the bar first. What does that mean? You have to set the example of excellence and consistency for your team first to get them to go where you want them to go. So to help you out, I'm going to share my presentation called Seizing Your Opportunities. And I will share 3 simple success tips. And as I share these, I want all of you leaders to do this, because this is what we had to do in the NFL. As I mentioned, everything was filmed. Practice, drills, games. And we would take the film home, and it was our responsibility to critique ourselves, to look for the weaknesses and make the corrections and make sure we corrected them before the next game. So that's my challenge to all of you. As I share these points, I want you to answer or think about 2 questions. How can you use this information to become a better leader? And then how can you use this information to help your team members succeed? Does that sound fair? Can we do that? All right. So who's ready to grow? Who's ready to be challenged? Who's ready to be inspired? If that's you, I want you to clap 2 times. There's a lot of people in here. Let's try that again. If that's you, I want you to clap 2 times. That's what I'm talking about. Here we go. All right, so let's start here. You got to get your head in the game. You got to get your head in the game. This is one of the most perfect metaphors for life. Because as leaders, every day mentally, we're either defeating ourselves or we're making ourselves champions. We're either in the game of life leading the charge, or we're sitting on the sideline whining and complaining about our team or about our circumstances. This is something our coaches would say to us all the time, because they wanted to mentally prepare us for the journey, for the season, for training camp, for the game, because 90% of success is what happens between your ears, right? And as humans, we all deal with our own mental challenges: self-doubt, fear, negative thinking, self-limiting beliefs. And then sometimes we allow outside influences to dictate how we think, and it affects our performance. So with this first point, I'm just talking about mindset. Mindset. Mindset is such an important success tip in anything you do, because it has to do with what you think, why you think it, when you think it, how you think it. It's such a critical point, because one small thought, one small idea in any given situation, you could be having a conversation with a team member, a customer, a potential customer, a superior, whatever it is, and that one thought, positive or negative, takes you that way or that way. There is no in between. You either have the right mindset to bring your best at that moment, or you don't. So I'm going to highlight two different types of mindsets, and I want you to think about this. And think about yourself. Again, which are you? So there's fixed mindset and there's a growth mindset. People that have a fixed mindset have the belief that they can reach their abilities or skills to a certain point, and they reach that point and they figure they're good. They won't continue to put in the work to make improvement, and they get comfortable. And their performance goes on a decline or just remains stagnant. Those with a growth mindset, just the opposite. They understand, yes, I can continue to grow, I can continue to improve, and they see the connection between doing the work and how it leads to higher achievements. And studies show that people that have a growth mindset, they naturally foster qualities like determination, resilience, perseverance, and grit. This is such a critical point, especially for you leaders, because when it's tough in your business, or when there's those challenging moments, you got to make sure your mindset is right so you can keep your team going. So remember this: incredible things happen when you start monitoring your daily thoughts. You might be surprised how many negative thoughts cross over your mind, but we got to work to eliminate the thoughts that don't serve us well, because our thoughts become our actions. You want more positive results as a leader? You start by adopting a positive growth mindset, because a positive growth mindset separates the best from the rest. Oh yeah, I know, I'm telling you. This is why I'm talking about this first. I'm like the poster child of this. You know the number one question I'm asked about my NFL career is? Not what was it like to, score touchdowns or play with Joe Montana. No, it's like, how did you play 9 years at 5'10", 157 pounds? I was one of the lightest guys during my years. They would list me in the program at 180 pounds. My coach would say, I don't want the defense to know how small you really are. But I learned if you play scared, you run a lot faster. But seriously, according to my size, I was not supposed to be there. So my mindset was constantly under attack. We need a bigger receiver. We can't let him run these plays over and over and over. So as leaders, my question to you, what attacks your mindset from day to day? What is it that you allow mentally from day to day to affect your performance, to bring and give your best? Well, here's the secret sauce, and here's what the experts did not know. My why was very, very strong. Probably one of the most popular leadership points being taught throughout the world. Why do you do what you do? I mean, what's your why? Your why is your deep seed of motivation that drives you from inside to get you to do what you need to do to achieve the goal. You ever thought about that? Why are you in this company? Why are you still in this company? I know there's opportunities for growth. Why do you continue to move up? Why? Just because, or I don't know, will only take you so far. Because when you have those tough moments, or you have those wall-kicking moments, it is so easy to shut it down, slow down, point the finger, or make excuses. You know how many times I was in a game and they called X crackback? That's when I got to go block. And I look down and I see 260 pounds Junior Seau, 100 pounds bigger than me. I don't have time to sit here and go, dang, Junior's kind of big. I don't know if I want to hit him. He looks like he got muscles in his cheek. No, I'd strap it up, I'd run down there, boom, I'd hit Junior as hard as I could. Now, Junior wouldn't move at all. But when you saw the film the next day, you saw little 88 sprinting down there to do his job because of the why, what was driving me. I was trying to change my circumstances. I was raised in Northeast Portland, Oregon, single parent mom in the hood. We struggled growing up. I wanted more. So I didn't care how big they were. If this was a means to me taking care of my family, I was willing to do it. So for yourself, think about it. I know this is a family-oriented company. So I'm going to assume for many of you, your why is somehow connected to your family. But why is it connected to your family? You got to go deeper. Let me show you. So there's a drill we call peeling the onion. An onion has multiple layers. This is how you figure out your deep-seated why. I was in Chicago about 6 years ago. I was meeting with some friends. And after we were having dinner, they said, hey, JJ, you're in really good shape. What do? You got any tips on losing weight? So I said, okay, let me figure out why she wants to lose weight. Why do you want to lose weight? She said, because I want to be healthy. Why do you want to be healthy? Well, because right now I can't get on the ground and play with my daughter. I said, why do you want to do that? She said, well, to be honest, I just want to be around. What are you talking about? She said, my mom died of obesity when I was a child, and I want to be around for her wedding. I said, bingo, there's your why. So whenever you want to quit, not follow your program, give up, reflect on that. That'll keep you going. But did you see what we did? You got to keep digging. It might take 2 or 3 times, but if you are honest with yourself, you will find a why that'll make you unstoppable. That nothing will prevent you from accomplishing what you need to as a leader. And you want to make sure it's emotional. It touches you here, it touches you there. So there's no fear, no doubt, no excuse in your head, no one's opinion. Anything that happens around you will stop you. Because if you get that, you understand this point. When the why is strong enough, the process to get there is not a challenge. You will do whatever it takes. So take the time, figure it out. Because let me tell you this, your why is going to be tested every single day. Failures, adversities, setbacks, challenges, and obstacles. It's part of life. How do you respond to these moments? How bad do you want it? I know within the industry you guys are in, you probably get some no's. You probably deal with rejection. How do you handle those no's? More importantly, how do you teach, or what are you teaching your team members to handle rejection, to handle no's? I got a lot of no's early in my career, and I got some ugly no's. Let me share. So I was drafted in the 1988 NFL draft by the Cleveland Browns. I was the, Browns in the house? I heard Browns. There we go. I should have asked you guys who's going to win the games this weekend. Okay, maybe I shouldn't because I'm not sure what everybody said. Okay, now here's the deal. So I got drafted, 8th round, 216th pick. If you know the NFL draft, they don't really have 8 rounds anymore. So I was a long shot. I go to the practice 3 weeks, or the following week, I tear up my ACL ligament. First practice, third practice. I'm on injury reserve the entire year. Next year, I go through camp. They cut me at the end. Over the next 4 days, I fly out to Kansas City, Detroit, and the Packers. I flunk all their physicals, and they don't want to sign me. So think about what I just shared with you. Over a 5-day period, I was rejected by 4 NFL teams. Think about your worst week. What does that look like for you? And more importantly, how do you respond to such challenges? I went to work, Cowboys called, I signed with the Cowboys. I was on their team. Cowboys in the house. I was on their team in 1989. When the season was over, Jimmy Johnson says, I don't think you can play in the NFL, kid. We're not going to sign you back. Does anybody remember how bad Dallas was in 1989? We were 1-15. I was like, you guys have never won a Super Bowl. I'm out of here. I leave and they win 3 Super Bowls. But the point is this, and this is what I'm trying to get to. I believe these FASCO moments, or these rejections or no's or challenges, these are some of the best mentoring moments. These are some of the best coaching moments if you embrace the lessons. And people that truly want to be the best as far as leadership, they always recognize there's areas for improvement. They recognize their weaknesses. And one of the best ways I have learned to respond to this is with curiosity. I like to ask, why did this happen? What can I learn from it? How can I turn this into an opportunity? I didn't blame someone else. I started focusing on myself. What can I do? Where can I make improvements? And as leaders setting the example, I encourage you to go there first. See where you can make improvements before you start pointing the finger at someone else. And then once you figure it out, dude, you gotta be ready to do the work. You gotta be ready to do the work. Blah, 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 do the work. Success, achievement, accomplishing your goals, leading your team to higher ranks, it's a beautiful thing when it happens. But nobody's going to give it to you. You gotta be willing to do the work. My track coach, Phil Walden, used to say this. I was 15 years old. He'd go, blah, blah, blah. He would do it like that, blah, blah, blah. Do the work. Because these athletes would come up with these excuses in terms of why they didn't run or why they didn't show up or why they didn't do this. He was like, no, no, no. You do the work, and when you do it with consistency, the results take care of themselves. So as leaders, I'm not talking about wearing yourself out, working 24/7, neglecting your health, your nutrition, your family. No, I'm talking about doing the smart work. And this is what I learned in the NFL. The difference between making it to the NFL and staying was your ability to work on the fundamentals. Do the work on the basics. Do the work on our skills. I didn't share this, but when I retired, I became owner of some medical companies in Kansas City, and then I ran a fitness equipment company in Atlanta, and I was the West Coast sales manager. I worked with 150 stores. And the thing that I noticed was that a lot of people did not spend time working on their skills, working on the basics, working on the fundamentals. See, in the NFL, that was automatic. I was a wide receiver, right? There's 4 ways to catch a ball: the diamond, pinky, your body, and one hand. I would spend hours after hours after hours putting in the work, perfecting the skill, catching with the diamond. When I got to the NFL, I'd say, you know what? I've been catching the ball since age 15. I don't need to work on this. When I got to my last year, I'd say, man, I've had a successful 9 years. I don't need to continue working on this. Continue to work on it. So my thought or challenge for all of you is, how much time do you spend as leaders working on the fundamentals, working on the basics? Because the basics are the basics, they don't change. We just have to decide how often we want to work on them. And when you do a little research, because I was doing some research, I was like, what are the most popular skills for leaders? Number 1 or number 2 was communication. How much time do you put in working on your communication skills? How much time do you spend improving them, enhancing them, getting better, being better at connecting and understanding your team members, or maybe even helping them developing their why? Or do you have this mentality of, I don't need to work on this anymore? Let me say this. In the NFL, it wasn't just about being good. We wanted to master the skills. And mastery is all about practice. You gotta be willing to put in the work. You gotta be willing to put in the practice. You gotta be willing to put in the time. And sometimes you gotta be willing to be bad enough, long enough, until you get good. And then when you get good, you continue to work on those skills, and you continue to perfect them. So the question is, are you willing to commit to do the learning, the growing, the failing, the innovating, all the things that it's going to take? Because remember, you set the example for your team. And speaking of example, I have to mention a couple of things about this guy. Does everybody know who he is? Hey, I did a presentation once, and it was a younger audience, and they didn't know who he was at all. And then I was like, have you heard of Tom Brady? And they're like, yeah, okay. Before Tom Brady was the GOAT, it was Joe Montana. Google him. Anyway, I think there's some really good points I can share with you as leaders about Joe Montana. But I will admit this. It kind of freaked me out when he joined our team first. I mean, this is Joe Montana. I was like, in the huddle the first time, I was like, that's Joe Montana. You know, I couldn't get over that because I was in the 8th grade watching him throw touchdown passes. But for me, I've always been a sponge. I've always been a learner. And I know success leaves clues. So I'm thinking, what can I learn from Joe Montana? How would he come in? Would he rest on his laurels? And I think this is a really important point for all of you because your company has been extremely successful. I saw the numbers, you know, the 15 billion in revenue and 88,000 team members and 6,000 plus stores. It would be so easy for you to get comfortable, to take your foot off the gas, to become complacent. Joe didn't do that. Joe came in year 15, already won 4 Super Bowls, had achieved all these accolades, and let me tell you something. When you talk about leaders leading from the front, that's what leaders do. Leaders set the pace. They set the standard. They set the example for the rest of the team. And Joe came in and he studied like a rookie, he prepared like a veteran, and he led like a pro. And he produced what I call the Montana effect. His leadership lifted all of us up, and we went right to the AFC Championship game. But the thing that mostly impressed me about Joe was he was never satisfied. He was never satisfied. Even with his successful career at that point, he was on a constant growth journey, constantly trying to get better, trying to improve, and working on the fundamentals. And I can't encourage this point enough for all of you because as a family company, you guys were a small company at first. Now you guys are a big, big company. My encouragement to all of you is don't lose the underdog mentality. Don't lose that underdog mentality. I was an underdog. I am an underdog. Because when you have that underdog mentality, it puts you in a whole different category. Because underdogs have a stealth opportunity to win. Because people don't usually see them coming. So don't stop doing the work. Don't stop doing the things that have took you to this level. But I'll say this, you have a champion mindset, but you have the work ethic like an underdog. Because underdogs usually outwork everyone. Right? They do. Because remember this, success is not a continuum. It's momentary. You got to continue to work at it. You got to continue to do the things that take you where you want to go. That's why I challenge all of you. No matter if you're a leader and you have a leadership goal, or you got a team goal, or if it's Team O'Reilly's goal, you hit that goal and you say, what's next? And you keep raising that bar. You keep challenging yourself. Say, what's next? It's one of the best ways to avoid complacency. Because even though you're winning, complacency can cause you to lose. So I'll tell you my secret, how you play 9 years at 5'10", 157 pounds. Every week I went in with the attitude, how can I be better than I was the week before? Every month it was, how can I be better than I was the month before? Every new season, how can I be better than I was the season before? Have that mentality. It's a growth mindset. It'll take you to some amazing places. So before I finish up, there's just a couple of things I want to end with. But I do want to take the time to thank O'Reilly Auto Parts leaders and executive team. Thank you so much for bringing me in and giving me the opportunity to speak and work with you. Now, I do want to quickly review. So what have we talked about? We talked about mindset. Don't underestimate this point. Mindset is so important in anything you do. Even your personal life, what you think when you think it matters. Grab that positive growth mindset. Why? Why do you do what you do? And let me add this. From time to time, you need to do why checkups. Because what was driving you last month, last year, 10 years ago, might not be what's driving you today. 6 years ago, 3 of our children got married over a 4-month period. What do you think was driving me that year? So do why checkups from time to time. And then always be willing to do the work. Be willing to do the work during the good days, the bad days, the tough days. Even when you don't feel like it, set the right example. And I know it takes a commitment. It takes a commitment to do all these things, especially when you've been successful. It takes a commitment to really get down to this and do it. And we understand this word. It's when you make a vow, a promise to do something. I'm going to give you a definition for commitment. And I want you to write this down or memorize it. It's something you want to take home with you. Because you come to events like this and you just get all fired up. You hear all this good stuff and training and what's happening in the company and where we're going, and you're hanging out, you're networking, and you're just like, man, we're going to blow it up. When I get back, oh, we're just going to tear it up. You're all fired up. And then you go home, and then life gets in the way. And then perhaps you revert back to the habits that don't serve you well. Please write down the definition of commitment. Commitment is doing the things you said you're going to do long after the mood you set it in has passed. And I repeat, commitment is doing the things you said you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has passed. Let me tell you this, enthusiasm is great. You should be fired up after attending this event. But don't forget, execution is everything. Make sure you go home and execute on the promises you will make here. So as I look around the room, there's a lot of people in here. You're all studs. You really are. What you do is pretty amazing. But again, I didn't come here to praise you. I came here to challenge you and get in your face like Hanford Dixon got in my face 33 years ago. What if he doesn't do that? Maybe I don't get the wake-up call that I need that changes my career. So here's my challenge to all of you. Every day you wake up, no matter what's going on, the good days, the bad days, you attack each day. You attack your leadership with passion, with purpose, with power. You do that, oh yeah, you'll definitely seize the opportunities. But more importantly, you'll make a positive impact on your team members and help them lift themselves up. And you know what the results is? Team O'Reilly wins, your team wins, your family wins, your customer wins, all of you win. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.J. Birden. Let's keep it going for J.J. J.J. Good job.